This is macOS Ken.
Facebook and Apple are back at it. Newspapers join the anti-Apple brigade. And a mixed message from Chatman. It's Thursday, the 17th of December, 2020. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from macOS Ken. Brought to you by yours truly and sponsored by Headspace. Meditation made simple. Get a free 1-month trial at headspace.com/macOSKen. This show is also sponsored by MacPaw, makers of Clean My Mac X. Your Mac as good as new. Your Mac is constantly making and holding on to little bits of data it really doesn't need. The Smart Scan feature in Clean My Mac X finds them and tosses them, freeing up space on your Mac. But it's not just about making room. The optimization tools in Clean My Mac X can help you boot up faster, free up RAM, and run maintenance scripts to speed up processes that can slow your Mac down. VentureBeat has called Clean My Mac X the best whole system cleaner around, a Swiss Army knife of simple tools that radically slim a Mac's software footprint, improve performance, and augment Apple's existing malware protection. You've already got the best computer for you. Help it run better with Clean My Mac X. Learn more about Clean My Mac X and download it for free at macpaw.app/macOSKen. That's MACPAW, macpaw.app/macOSKen. That's macpaw.app/macOSKen for Clean My Mac X. And thank you to MacPaw for sponsoring today's show. Facebook got some major ink on Wednesday. I mean, they did pay for it, but that did generate more ink. The Verge says the social network took out a full-page ad in the New York Times, the Washington Post, and the Wall Street Journal, criticizing Apple's ATT plan. That's the App Tracking Transparency Initiative that the piece says will ask iOS 14 users for permission to gather data and track them across mobile apps and websites on an iPhone and iPad in early 2021. ATT was supposed to go into effect with the release of iOS 14 a couple of months ago, though a number of developers, including Facebook, said they needed more time before implementation, and Apple gave it to them. Now Facebook is on the attack, saying it's standing up to Apple for small businesses everywhere. According to The Verge, Facebook claims Apple's changes will be devastating to small businesses that rely on its ad network to generate sales. The newspaper adds direct small businesses to Facebook's Speak Up for Small Business site, where a series of business owners speak out about Apple's changes. Small businesses deserve to be heard, Facebook writes. We hear your concerns, and we stand with you. Because nothing says standing up for small businesses like full-page ads in the New York Times, the Washington Post, and the Wall Street Journal. For its part, Apple does not agree with Facebook's characterization and said so. The Cupertino company responded to the ads in a statement to Apple Insider. Quoting that statement, "We believe that this is a simple matter of standing up for our users. Users should know when their data is being collected and shared across other apps and websites, and they should have the choice to allow that or not. App tracking transparency in iOS 14 does not require Facebook to change its approach to tracking users and creating targeted advertising. It simply requires they give users a choice." Facebook's response? More of the same. Back to these same small-town rags they went, publishing another full-page ad in today's New York Times, Washington Post, and Wall Street Journal. This time, says a piece from Engadget, Facebook is focusing on how it believes the upcoming policy change will impact users everywhere. It explains that if small websites such as cooking blogs can't make ends meet with ads, creators will be forced to start charging subscription or in-app fees. That development will make the internet much more expensive and reduce high-quality free content, the ad reads. expressly to nitpick? That may be what Facebook says, but we can't really know what Facebook believes. I take issue with Engadget's use of that term. Apple got support for ATT earlier this week. In a story I've kicked for a few days, Mac Rumors had Firefox maker Mozilla putting up a web page supporting iOS 14's app tracking transparency and encouraging others to do the same. The way the Mozilla site puts it, we need a massive outpouring of support for Apple's decision to help strengthen its resolve to protect consumer privacy. Sign this thank you to let Apple know consumers are eagerly anticipating anti-tracking protection on iPhone. It must be nice for Apple to have Mozilla on its side, especially when a lot of the corporate world seems to be lining up against it. You can, it seems, put newspapers in the against column. A group of them has joined the Coalition for App Fairness, according to TechCrunch. The way the site describes the coalition, it's an advocacy group pushing for increased regulation over app stores and fair treatment for all developers. It'll probably not shock you to find I take issue with the TechCrunch characterization. I mean, they're leaving out the part where the Coalition for App Fairness was spearheaded by Epic Games, which is locked in a fight with Apple over... we've been over that. Anyway, the Coalition for App Fairness has a slew of newspapers among its ranks now. According to TechCrunch, the Publisher Trade Association now joining the coalition is Digital Content Next, or DCN, a representative for the AP, the New York Times, NPR, ESPN, Vox, the Washington Post, Meredith, Bloomberg, NBCU, the Financial Times, and many others. Why are they joining? They're bothered by Apple's cut of iOS subscriptions. TechCrunch has the group saying that Apple severely impacts the digital subscriptions it sells by serving as an intermediary. According to the report, the organization's argument is that Apple forces publishers to use in-app payments for services like subscriptions. As a result, some publishers need to raise their prices to account for the so-called Apple tax or commission on these purchases. DCN CEO Jason Kint is quoted in the piece as saying, DCN is pleased to join the Coalition for App Fairness, working to establish a fair and competitive digital landscape. The premium publisher members of DCN enjoy trusted, direct relationships with consumers who don't expect intermediaries to impose arbitrary fees and rules which limit their ability to consume the news and entertainment they love. For its part, a spokesperson for the coalition was quoted as saying, having DCN join the Coalition for App Fairness is a landmark moment for our campaign, and their insight into core issues with the App Store that top outlets face will only make our voice stronger. We're excited to work with them to advocate for App Store policies that are fair, hold Apple accountable, and give consumers freedom of choice. One more story from Apple's own personal rogues gallery. Apple Insider says Epic Games has named a couple of Apple execs it would like to see on the stand as part of next year's court case. According to the piece, they would like to talk to Eddie the Stuff Q and Craig Federighi. Quoting a piece from Law 360, the report says Epic Games counsel told a U.S. magistrate judge that Epic should be allowed to depose Apple's Senior Vice President of Software Engineering, Craig Federighi, who oversees the development of iOS and macOS, and Eddie Q, Apple's Senior Vice President of Internet Software and Services. The judge has not said yes, but it sounds like he's leaning that way. While he postponed a decision over the request, Apple Insider says he let the Cupertino company know that it would need to demonstrate extraordinary circumstances for the two execs to not be deposed. More news in a moment, but first a word from Headspace. Meditation made simple. When I've tried meditation in the past, it just felt like 5 minutes of me breathing and feeling stupid. There was no why asked nor reason given for what I was doing. Headspace is different. using clinically validated research to ask what you're trying to achieve and help you do it. I mean, it's great for quick hits. There are guided meditations under 5 minutes to help you focus, relax, stave off panic. But there's more. The Headspace approach to mindfulness can reduce stress, improve sleep, boost focus, and increase your overall sense of well-being. You might feel self-conscious at first. I know I did. But I also know I feel better with Headspace. Headspace is backed by 25 published studies on its benefits, 600,000 5-star reviews, and over 60 million downloads. You deserve to feel happier, and Headspace is meditation made simple. Go to headspace.com/macOSKen. That's headspace.com/macOSKen for a free 1-month trial with access to Headspace's full library of meditations for every situation. This is the best deal offered right now. Head to headspace.com/macOSKen today. And thanks to Headspace for sponsoring today's show. It wouldn't be quite right to call JP Morgan analyst Samik Chatterjee's latest note to investors a mixed message, but it wouldn't be the worst description. Apple Insider has news of his note, which seems to be full of good stuff, kind of under a cloud. According to the report, he indicates that investors should expect modest returns in 2021 on the strength of wearables, Apple Silicon Max, and the iPad. Where's iPhone and all that? According to the piece, Chatterjee says that expectations of an iPhone 12 supercycle are running up against headwinds to investor sentiment. That's because thus far there's been limited data on the potential upside of 5G iPhone shipments. He's not sure iPhone 12 is taking off. In fact, his firm sees better consumer demand for legacy iPhones, particularly the iPhone 11. That's despite what he calls robust demand for the iPhone 12 line. Also, he's upped iPhone unit sales expectations by a couple of million for 2021. He's looking for Apple to move 237.5 million at this point, and you start to see why this message seems kind of mixed. Here's what he is into. The whole lot of it. He thinks wearables will drive growth for Apple in the coming year. Also, there are computers and other computers. Mac and iPad should keep doing well as people keep working from home and schooling at home. Because there likely won't be any surprises, says the piece, Chatterjee is maintaining his 2021 Apple estimates. However, he is raising estimates for 2022 and 2023 fiscal years on account of greater confidence into a more sustainable replacement cycle supported by a wider product portfolio. Chatterjee has a positive rating on Apple shares. His price target on the shares is $150. Apple shipped updates for iOS, iPadOS, watchOS, and tvOS on Monday. The company then took somewhere between 24 and 36 hours of downtime before starting on the next big updates. 3 pieces from Mac Rumors say Apple on Wednesday pushed out the first developer betas of iOS and iPadOS 14.4, tvOS 14.4, and watchOS 7.3, proving there is no rest for the wicked. And finally today, 2 stories of Airpods Max that I find kind of funny. It's easy for me, though. I don't have AirPods Max, nor am I waiting for them. Some people are, apparently. Apple Insider says an unspecified number of pairs sent out to customers in Canada this week have been stopped in the U.S. and are being sent back to Apple. According to the report, a hazardous materials irregularity occurred with this package, says the UPS shipping notification sent to multiple buyers in Canada. We'll contact sender with additional information. The package will be returned to sender. The piece goes on to say it's possible that the problem is to do with labeling and that these particular AirPods Max shipments do not have the required warning about batteries. Maybe we'll find out for sure at some point. For now, neither Apple nor UPS have offered comment. When the Airpods Max is finally do get where they're going, there are 3 things to remember. Keep them out of sunlight. They don't like that. Don't get them wet. And never, ever feed them after midnight. Okay, that first one isn't true. And that last one is really not true. But that middle one is kind of serious. A piece from my download blog had Apple confirming this week that AirPods Max are neither waterproof nor water resistant. Man, $549 doesn't buy you much, does it? It'd be cool if you got them wet and they multiplied. These are Gremlins jokes. Go ask your dad. Coming up in a few minutes, Libsyn's own Rob Walsh talks trends in podcasting in 2020. Then, with 31 years of podcasting between us, Rob and I offer quick advice if you're thinking of starting a podcast of your own. The show is called In a Few Minutes. Look for it and subscribe wherever you get podcasts. macOS Ken Live goes live again this afternoon. This will be the last one for this week. I get stuff tomorrow. 3:30 Pacific, 6:30 Eastern. Find it today at youtube.com/KenRay or subscribe to the audio show, macOS Ken Live, wherever you get podcasts. macOS Ken, brought to you by me and sponsored by MacPaw, makers of Clean My Mac X. Learn more about Clean My Mac X and download it for free at macpaw.app/macOSKen. This show is also sponsored by Headspace, meditation made simple. Get a free 1-month trial at headspace.com/macOSKen. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media, online at backbeatmedia.com. You can reach me a couple of ways. info@macosken.com or call 716-780-4080. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Ciao.